Hello and welcome to another video from oorail. This video looks at Mk1 coaches and continues our BR terminology series. Mk1 coaches have been in service since 1951. Locomotive-hauled Mk1s from the main line have been withdrawn, however, since the mid-1990s. There are two main types of Mk1 coaches. You have a corridor coach, which basically consists of a series of compartments with a connecting corridor along one side of the coach. The second type of coach you have is a open coach, and an open coach is basically what we're all pretty familiar with, and it's a open plan coach with seating on typically both sides. So normally the configuration that you'd have is a series of different classes and functionalities. So for the Mk1 coaches, you typically would have a first class type of coach, and these are usually denoted by a yellow stripe above the windows. As you can see here, the yellow stripe runs along there. Then you have second class coaches, which typically are denoted by having no stripe. And then you have specialty coaches such as a restaurant coach, and the restaurant and any kind of catering is denoted by a red stripe along the top of the coach there. You also have sleeper coaches, and of course you have brake coaches, and brake coaches are always at the rear of the train. You also have what are called composite coaches. Composite coaches are basically like this coach right here, and they consist of having multiple classes in the same coach. So this one here happens to be a CK corridor coach, and or a composite corridor coach, and here you can see we've got the second class without the stripe, and then the first class section behind it. The lettering K denotes a corridor coach, whereas O denotes an open plan coach. So this particular coach here is a CK because it's a composite corridor coach. So some configurations would have a coach similar to one here at the end, which is a BCK or a brake corridor coach, and it basically, let's clear at the back there. The brake corridor coach basically is a composite coach which has the brake guard section in the back of it as well. A lot of times you would have two brake coaches, one at the loco end and one at the trailing end, and usually these would be a combination of BCK and BSKs for the Mk1. BCK, like we have here at the end of the train, is the brake composite coach consisting of two classes, and then the BSK, which is basically a standard corridor coach, second class, with the brake section. And the reason you'd have brake coaches at either end was basically the turnaround time at a lot of terminus stations was so tight that there wasn't always enough time to remarshal the brake from one end of the train to the other. So rather than having to do this, they would basically put one at either end, so just the loco had to be moved. And this helped to speed up times and so on, especially since BR is pretty good at running late. So another interesting point is oftentimes trains that were headed towards London would have the first class marshaled towards London, and the reason for this basically what this means first is that the first class coaches would be closest to the locomotive. And the reason for this is that when the locomotives arrived in London, the first class passengers basically just simply didn't have as far to walk, especially on longer trains. Some of the trains had sleeper cars, and as far as I know, sleeper cars were more for longer range, slower trains. So it's not like today where you can get up from London to Scotland pretty quickly. There used to be overnight trains where the sleeper cars and so on would be available to customers and other passengers. Now, Bachmann doesn't actually have the sleeper cars out yet, They also don't have some of the restaurant cars out yet, but they look like they're forthcoming releases, so hopefully we'll see those sometime in 2013. So the rest of this video is basically just going to walk you through a couple of different configurations. What I've done here is I've actually put together a pretty straightforward starting point in terms of what you should probably aim for. Ultimately, what you probably want to have a pretty good standard configuration is start off with a BSK, which is the brake second corridor, 2 or more SK coaches, which are the second corridor coaches, 1 RMB, which is a restaurant miniature buffet, which is I think it's this one here, and then you would have a second open, a restaurant car, which is an RU, an RFO, which is a restaurant first class, which I believe is this coach right here, and then you'd have a FK, which is a first class coach, and then a BCK. So right now, the way we have things configured here, from here back, we have that configuration that we're looking for. This, however, is a CK coach, and it's just in there to basically fill a gap. But one thing you should be aware of is that none of these configurations are set in stone. If you're trying to model a certain era or a certain location, the configuration is very flexible. The configuration varied in reality, mainly because BR had a lot of different regional practices in place. So the actual route and the traffic requirements would, on different routes, would basically determine how the train was configured. So obviously, if you're going a short distance, you would need sleeper cars. If you're going a short distance, you probably would need perhaps some of the restaurant cars. So the configuration itself will really depend on what you're modeling and so on. And your best bet is to actually look at photographs for the area and era that you're looking to model. You can't find some of these photos if you can't find them, what you're looking for in Flickr and so on. We do have a collection of them up on the website photos.oorail.com. So you should be able to at least get an idea of some of the configurations from there if you're interested. So what we're going to do is just give you a quick pan around of this configuration, and we'll do it coach by coach. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to back the class 26 here up, and we'll go through each coach one by one so you can take a look at it. And with the exception of the locomotive, which is a class 26 from Heljan, all of the coaches on here are the latest Bachmann coaches, and they're all Mk1s. So this first coach is a Bachmann SK coach. I'll put the exact model number on the ticker on the video, but this basically has the number W24689, which is a Western region number, and it's pretty much a straightforward SK coach. Directly behind it is a Bachmann SO, which is a standard open coach, and this standard open coach is basically second class. As you can see, there's no stripe above it and so on, and it too is in pretty nice condition. Now the final configuration, because some of these coaches are pretty expensive, the final configuration here is maybe in front of this SK, which is this one here. Between it and the loco, you'd be looking to add probably a BSK. So if you're looking for the final configuration, and the one I'm going to go with ultimately would be a BSK. So next time I'm ordering something from the UK, top of my list is going to be the BSK to go between the loco here and the coach. So we'll move on now to the next two. Okay, so the next two are the restaurant miniature buffet, and it has a number of E1871, which is an Eastern region number. And then we also have the corridor coach with the composite corridor coach. So this is a CK coach. You can see here there's a second class and then the first class. And it's a Western region. And it's looks like it's actually no, it's a Midland region. It's M16153, and you can see there it's got the 1 on the rear coach there, on the door for the rear coach. So we're going to go on to the next two coaches, which should be the restaurant first class and the first class corridor coach. So you can see there the restaurant first open was the RFO is what just passed by there, and it's not quite clear from the video, but it's only got a partial number. It's W9, so you can obviously add the transfer there to number it out the way you want. And then the FK, which is the coach here, is a Midland region, and it's 13085. And there you can see it's got the first class 1 on the rear door as well, and on the front door. So this would be the typical configuration that you would have. You probably would add maybe additional SK or CK, before the miniature buffet there. But this particular configuration is, like I said, a good starting point. And then we'll wrap things up with the BCK at the end of the train. And here you have it. This is the Brake Composite Corridor, BCK. And it's a Midland region, and it's 21247, and you can see here it's got the 1 for the first class. There's no 1 there because it's one part second class, and then you've got the guard section here at the rear for the brake. It's got a guard written on the end there, and basically this is how you would end up the train. So you go to a terminal station, and then the loco would join on this end, and you'd still have the brake on the other end, which is the BSK. So like I said, this is a good starting configuration, and I'll just roll through the train backwards one more time. So we have the BCK, the FK, the RFO, the corridor coach. Then you have the RMB, which is the miniature buffet, the second open, the SK, and then the class 26. So you probably add a second or third SK or a CK before the other before the loco, and then you probably also add a BSK on this end so that you'd have the brake on both ends. So here's the class 26, really decent rate of Mk1 coaches. Like I said, this is a good starting point, and then you can expand on it to get a broader range of configurations. So if you need to expand on this particular configuration, I would go with the BSK at the front and then additional SK coaches, and then hopefully next year you'll be able to pick up the RU and the supercars if you want to do the longer range kind of locomotive. So I hope you found this video useful, and in the next video, if you're wondering what we're going to do, there'll be Mk2 coaches.